Kobe, we've been doing this podcast for, 4 years?
Yeah, getting close.
Well, fuck me, Freddy. Here's to 4 more years. I don't know why that's the curse word he decided to go with. Like, who's Freddy?
And he says it multiple times, too, so yeah.
What's going on, guys? My name is Barry.
This is Cole.
And this is Who Watches This.
I'll say music.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the 4th and final movie of Stephen King month.
Yeah.
I was about to say Stephen Hawking.
This is the first one that's been like a real full-length movie. Like, haven't they all been like
what's it called? The one with Ron Perlman was pretty long, but that's because it's a series.
Yeah, right.
It was like a condensed series and all that stuff. Yeah, this is and you know what? This movie really did fly by. I was like, man, 2 hours is a long time.
Right, wasn't it like it's like 2:08 or something like that?
Yeah. Something like that. And for 2003, that's pretty lengthy.
Right.
Before it used to be like a tight 145. But before we tell you guys what
the theaters are like, don't make it more than 2 because then we can't fit all the showings in one.
in one day, you know?
Right.
But before I tell you what the movie is, I'm going to Dr. Seuss you on our first segment. Oh, Dr. Seuss you trailer. 4 friends, 1 cabin. 4 friends, 4 habits. All flawed, but that's besides the point because there's aliens up in this joint. Now, can we stop this Mr. Gray? With the help of Douglas, we just may, but a sultry voiced man stands in the way. I hope we can save the world today. We're going to be talking about a 2003 Stephen Hawking's movie, Dreamcatcher. And no, it's not about Native Americans.
Not Stephen Hawking's.
Oh, Stephen King. See, I said it. I was like, oh, I almost said Stephen Hawking.
Dianetics.
Yeah. We're going to be talking about the 2003 Stephen King movie, Dreamcatcher, based on the 2001 novel of the same name.
Yes.
Oh, man. Yeah, this movie is 2 hours, and I was like, when I saw the runtime, I was like, I don't know, man, but there's Timothy Olyphant, Jason Lee from, My Name is Earl.
Right. Good cast. Yeah.
And the other guy, what's his name?
Morgan Freeman's in it.
Morgan Freeman, the sultry voice. Thomas Jane.
I was gonna say Tom Sizemore's in it.
I don't recognize him too much.
He's from Heat.
Oh.
He's kind of fallen off the wagon. He's in a lot of like sci-fi originals now.
Hey, he's like taking it easy now. What do those things take? Like a day to...
It's true. I think that's what it was. I think he's like, I made my money.
Yeah.
I don't want to act anymore. But you know what? I've got some friends who are wannabe movie makers. Yeah. I'll go ahead and make an appearance in their movie.
Just do an afternoon.
So they could say they've got a name.
Yeah. Thomas Jane, who was like in Boogie Nights, Deep Blue Sea, The Mist.
Mm-hmm.
I always kind of like... misremember him as like Eckhart or whatever. I Frankenstein guy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
They kind of look alike to me. But do you know who played Duddits, aka Douglas?
I didn't until I was looking up some information and I was like, blew my mind.
It's Donald Wahlberg.
Mark. I was gonna say Mark and Mark's brother. But people we probably have a younger crowd that listens to us, so Mark Wahlberg's
or you never
brother,
know.
The one from I was gonna say
on the Block.
Kids in the Hall. No, he's not a comedian.
Also of New Kids on the Block fame.
Yep.
The Boston boy band that nobody asked. No, I was kidding. They're pretty big when you were growing up,
they
right?
They were huge.
They gave white dudes a chance. But no, we're going to be talking about the 2003 movie Dreamcatcher. The movie opens up with, I believe, Thomas Jane. What is his character? I want to use all the characters' name. Henry. And he is a therapist.
Right.
Talking to, unfortunately named character Barry about his eating situation. But as this guy is telling him his story, he's writing down other notes, and he's like, "Well, do you think that your eating habits stem from like when your mother was having a heart attack and you didn't call her back, so now you eat yourself because of the guilt?"
Right, and he's like, "How did you know that?"
Demon. And he storms out of there. And then we get a pretty harrowing scene where he pulls out a 6-shooter and he's like rubbing it on his temple. And I'm like, man, this guy is utterly depressed.
Yeah.
But luckily, Jonesy, played by Damian Lewis, what other... he looks familiar. So.
He looks so familiar, but I didn't really... Once I looked through, I was like, oh, he must look like somebody else.
Oh, hey, he's like one of those guys that's like, I know where you from.
Yeah.
He calls him and he's like, hey, let's go up to our hole in the wall cabin and maybe we can visit Duddits, who's one of their other friends. And
right.
And he's like, yeah, Henry replies like, yeah, that's good. That sounds good.
Yeah, it's been too long since we haven't seen him, so.
Yeah, let's go there, And then Jonesy, who is a history professor at I would assume an esteemed college, has a student come in. He notices the student's kind of like dressed a little bit more, his clothes are worn.
Right.
Well worn. But he knows that he cheated on a test and, but after examining him and doing a little bit of his shining power.
Yep.
He's like, you know what? Maybe you weren't in school. Maybe you missed that day.
Right. Yeah. You were sick that day. So you're just going to have to write me an essay to make up for it.
And, the kid's like, thank you so much for giving me another chance. And he like leaves, right?
And then he's like, but how did you know?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, sometimes you just know.
Yeah. We also get introduced to Pete, played by Timothy Oliphant, who is a used car salesman.
Yep.
I believe. And, this hot blonde comes in, very Cameron Diaz, 1996 or 94 mask.
Yeah.
It's wet. She's wet. Yeah. But she's like, hey, can you make me a copy of my key? I think I lost it. And he's like, well, that takes like a day. Maybe I could help you find it.
Right. He's like, I got a talent for finding lost things.
Which, I mean, really, he should have taken that talent somewhere else,
Right?
It could have been like a missing persons detective or something. But, so they go, he kind of like retraces her steps. He's like, well, you were here. Maybe you bought this. Oh, no, he said, not maybe. You bought this, and that. Goes outside and he's like, hey, if I find your keys, can I take you out on a date?
Yep.
She's like, yeah, sure. And he like pulls it out of the gutter and he's like, here you go. And she like takes it, gets in his car, and he's like, huh, right, 6:00 at the
best fried clams in town.
And she kind of like, she zooms away, and I was watching that. I was like, I don't think she zoomed away because like you're asking her on a date, or maybe she thinks she's better than you. I think she's zooming away because you just detailed everything that she just did.
Right.
But
you creeped her out a little.
Yeah. But he looks pretty defeated, right?
Yeah.
And then we get a shot of Beaver, played by Jason Lee.
Wait, quick. Pete.
Yeah.
He was from Santa Clara Diet.
Oh yeah, Oh no, I know. Yeah,
and here in Deadwood. Those are the two things I like.
Girl Next Door. That's another movie. He's in a lot. He was also in Scream 2 as one of the killers.
Right.
Oh, man. I sound like a Timothy Oliphant fanboy right now. No, but we get a shot of Beaver, played by Jason Lee. My Name is Earl type of fame.
But right?
Mallrats. I know. I mean, some people
all the Kevin Smith movies. Really.
But like as of late, the My Name is Earl is like his biggest like claim to fame, right? But he calls up Henry after being in a bar, and he has like he calls up Jonesy, and he has some sort of intuition, a tingle, a spidey sense, you can say.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, just be careful, man. I'm having my little tingle moment. And he asks us like, well, of what? He's like, of everything. I was like, I don't know if you want to live life like that. But Jonesy, he gets to an intersection and he sees his friend Duddits across, but it's like him in his kid form,
right,
in underwear. And he walks into traffic and he just gets slammed by cars. It's like Meet Joe Black all over again.
Right, that's exactly what I was just thinking.
Like visceral, right? And then like all of a sudden he sees like the feet of the kid that he had helped out, and I was like, was he driving? They don't make note of it, but do you know?
Oh, I don't know.
Because you see his Converse.
Right.
No, but I was like, all right.
It's weird because they do it makes it obvious that it's that kid. Mm-hmm. But then they don't.
They don't explain anything.
Yeah.
Right? But on his way to the hospital, he sees his friend Duddits.
Right.
But he's talking very coherently, you know. But then we cut away to 6 months, and now they're at this cabin.
And that's the first time you see Duddits, and Duddits is like,
Yeah.
Gray. And you're like, did I miss something?
That is just, he's not being insensitive. That is just a correct portrayal of Duddits in this movie.
Right, because at this time you don't know that Duddits is a special needs person, and so it's just like, is it a different language? Is he just
Right? It's very jumbled, and so we don't know that, right? But it cuts to 6 months. They're at this cabin. Jonesy is fucking fine. Yeah, and then during this whole time, I'm thinking, like, is this some sort of dream? But no, Jonesy, he's just okay after that horrendous accident.
right? Because you almost get the idea that Jonesy's dead.
And I'm like, no, there's no way. He was in the trailer. No, but these four friends, you know, it appears that they've been doing this for 20 odd years.
Yep.
You know, this is where they go hunt. They kind of start to catch up on their lives, you know, which is nice. It's very hard the older you get to keep in touch. Especially back in 2003.
Right. Yep.
But we get a couple of like little Easter eggs here, you know, because we actually they start to reminisce about their times with Duddits.
Yep.
And how they were from, what was it called? Derry?
Yep. Which is used in other Stephen King movies. Yes.
It must have been during the lull, because I feel like Duddits could have taken Pennywise in a mental, in a psychic battle or something like that. No, and it kind of just shows how they became friends. You know, they saved this kid from being bullied. And, you know, even though like these kids that are bullying Duddits is like much older than them, they're like, you know, you can beat us up, but you're not gonna be able to catch good old Pete over here.
Right.
He's the fastest legs in Indiana. I love sort of like those things about like small towns where, like, you know, obviously there's good and bad stuff.
Right.
But like, you know, because then like when they tell him his name, he's like, yeah, it's friggin' Pete Fastlegs over here, and they're like, oh, that's Pete Fastlegs.
Just because he'll be able to run home and
tell his mom
before you catch him.
Yeah, there's no way you're catching. He's gonna dust you guys.
Yeah,
and
the bullies are like, Dustin, we're gonna watch you. And so then the kids are all like, well, we'll just be like your bodyguards. We'll walk you to school every day because you live in our neighborhood. So,
and these four kids are like solid dudes. Even Beaver, who's kind of like a sleazeball. He's kind of like the perv.
He's the perv. Yep.
Yeah. He's the one with the very gray moral area, but luckily he's found like good kids to kind of be around, or good kids to be around.
Right.
And so he kind of,
that's how they get to where they meet Duddits, because he's like, hey, there's this old abandoned warehouse. It's got a poster of a naked girl in it. Let's go look at it.
They it's funny, they do, after saving Duddits, they do stop over and like, oh yeah, there it is. It's a naughty photo. But no, and then, you know, they also talk about like, because like at the beginning of this movie, you kind of sense that they have some sort of abilities.
Right.
And then all four of them are talking about their memory warehouse.
Yeah.
And that's super cool. And like Beaver totally forgot about it. Pete and Henry don't really use it as much.
Right.
But Jonesy, he's always up in that tinker
right.
warehouse.
Oh yeah, because they make a joke about like, you don't even remember the words to the songs. And he's like, yeah, I probably shouldn't, but that was one of those things that was important enough that I locked it in the office, so I'd never lose it.
Yeah, the office with the naughty photo in it. But it also shows him like having to continually burn memories.
Right.
Because he's like, well, you know, like naturally you forget, or you put that all the way in your subconscious where you can't remember it in your awakened state.
Yep.
But he's like, he has to do that manually.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because he wants to be able to pick and choose which memories he can keep. Which I think I was like, man, that's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. But then again, it's also dangerous. You might start just living in your head. You know, you stop living normally and you just live in your head, right?
Yeah. But it's an interesting concept that like your brain only really can hold so much, and once you get to some point, you gotta pick and choose which memories you get rid of so that you can add more new ones.
Right. And then I feel like that's like, you know, they always say like you only use like what, 10% of your brain at most.
Right.
And like, you know, so like, hey, you know, I don't know if I want to find out what's in the other 90%, you know? It's like your computer, you know, the other 90% is like, oh, we're going to make sure that you breathe, you blink.
Right.
Taste stuff. Who knows? But no, and you know, so they have like a nice night, but then the next morning they start to go out to hunt. Now Pete and Henry are like, hey, you know, just stay at the house with Beaver. Like, you guys hang out. You were just in a fucking accident, so
right. Yep.
Me and Pete will go hunt. And super cool. You know, they have a little bird's nest and all that stuff. They're trying to figure things out while Pete and Henry are out there hunting. Jonesy and Beaver go outside, and there's just like a big dude out there.
Yes.
Rick. And he's like, oh my God, you know, and Jonesy, being a helpful person, he's like, hey, let me help you in. But he notices the bulge on his chest, and he's like, oh my God.
Yeah, at first he's like, oh, maybe that guy's drunk. But then he goes over, and he's got this huge bulge in his chest. He's got this red mark on the side of his face, and he's like, I'm not sure, is he frostbite?
He's passing just terrible gas.
Right. Out of both ends.
And so he brings him inside. Beaver ends up seeing him too, and they have like this little funny moment. But like Rick, who's we don't know is infected yet, he's passing gas, and he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." He's kind of becoming self-conscious, so they put him in the room. And as soon as they put him in the room, they open the window like, man, that must have smelled like sulfur.
Right.
Meanwhile, what's it called? Meanwhile, Pete and Henry are on the way back after seeing some like weird stuff. Right?
No, well, they're trying to hurry back because somebody told them a storm was coming. And they were
yeah.
you don't want to get stuck in the snow, so make sure you hurry up and get back to the cabin.
Yeah, and so on the way back, you know, Pete cracks open a bottle or a beer, and Henry's like, dude, it's 11 in the it's 11 in the morning or afternoon, right? Or evening or afternoon, yeah. And he's like, I don't do this every day, and he's like, And, you know, Henry's ability is to be able to read thoughts.
Well, he's the locator. Oh, you're right. You're right. Yes, yeah, Henry's the
Timothy Oliphant is the locator. Yeah, and you know, so they kind of like just don't mind. You know, he kind of just lets it go. But then as they're driving, they see a woman frozen in the road, very Jack Nicholson style, and they swerve and get into this horrendous accident. Yep. But they're able to make it out there relatively safe. And they talk to the lady, and she's like, "Oh, I need to find Rick." Meanwhile, we go back with Jonesy and Beaver, and the guy's like taking a dump.
Well, before that, they start seeing just herds of animals, like
just migrating, but they notice that they're like pelted with like this red mystery thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And so then they kind of go out to see what's going on, and a helicopter flies by
with Morgan Freeman
and says like, stay in your house, this area is quarantined, we'll come get you in 24 hours.
Yeah, you don't want to hear that. That's terrifying. But when they get back
especially
into
once
house,
you just picked up somebody who's all like bloated and covered in the red fungus.
But when they get back into the house, they notice that Rick is out of the bed and into the shitter.
Yeah,
and they're like, "Hey, man, you gotta open up. You're acting really weird."
Right, it is because there's a little trail of blood from the bedroom to the the bathroom.
A lot, and they knock it down, and then this dude is like eviscerated. Like, all of his skin is falling off, and they're like, "Oh my God!" And then they start hearing something in the toilet.
Right, and then the whole rest of the room is all like covered in this like red fungus spores.
Yeah. They knock over the fat dude, and it's like, you see his sack fall over. His poop shooter all bloodied.
And that's when the shit weasel, they hear the shit weasel fall into the toilet. So something living comes out of his butthole.
Oh man, it is
and they
terrible.
They kind of lock it in the toilet.
Yeah, Beaver sits on it and he's like, go to the shed. There's like some friction tape there. Maybe we could lock this thing in. But Beaver has this habit of having toothpicks in his mouth. Maybe it's a way to cope with like cigarettes.
So, kind of just boop. Some of the people who are comparing the book to the movie,
Yeah.
they made, apparently in the book, they made a big deal about, they call him Beaver because he's always chewing on things. He'd always chew through his pencils. He was always chewing on like popsicle sticks. He always had to have like toothpicks in his mouth. And that's why they called him Beaver.
Okay, I thought it was
which made
cigarettes.
it when, well, I like could have been, yeah. But then that way, when he's looking for his toothpick here in a minute,
Yeah.
it makes a little more sense.
Yeah. Well, you know, I like in my head, I was just like, oh, you know, like that's some people can kind of get rid of smoking because they just need something in their mouth, like gum, toothpick.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Or just anxiety, like reflex. You gotta I gotta chew on my fingernails, or I gotta
like a coping mechanism, right? And so Jonesy goes outside. He's like frantically looking for this thing, and Beaver just can't help it. He tries to reach for a thing, and this lamprey looking thing pops out.
Right.
It is nasty. And you know what? I gotta say this, for 2003, holds up.
It does.
CG's not bad.
Right.
I was like, for early CG, not bad.
I mean, it could have been practical. We would have got bonus points, but
The budget was.
But it was a well designed as well.
Yeah, like it was, yeah, you know, and it, like this thing is like has razor teeth all over the place, and Beaver gets his like 4 fingers swiped. It is bad, and he's like fighting this thing. He's like putting friggin' like toilet brushes in his mouth, and it is gonna get him. And Jonesy, finally able to find the friction tape, goes there, and he sees Jonesy, and he's like, "Shut the door, man! You gotta shut the door. It's
right.
Too
Don't
late.
let this thing out."
Yeah. Unfortunately, it does. Even though Jonesy's able to hold it in there, I guess it escapes from somewhere else. And when he turns back, or when he,
because he's pulling the doorknob so hard, on the door that the doorknob breaks, and then the door kind of swings open and the thing comes out.
Yeah, slithers in between his legs, but Jonesy is more now very scared of this huge Mr. Gray behind him. And it's like this huge alien looking, very Roswell looking thing. We cut all of a sudden to the military base. This is kind of where we get a little bit of an exposition dump of, like, you know, Morgan Freeman is saying like, hell, we've been fighting these things since 1947. That's like what Roswell incident. We call it the Ripley virus because of the alien movies. Little trivia dump here. Wasn't Jonesy the name of the cat for Ripley?
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
See what you did there.
And you know what's called Morgan Freeman is like, he's pretty hard on his people. One of his guys let mother and kid out of the base because they were just kind of passing through, and he's like, "Oh, no, can you do Scout's honor?" And he pulls it up and he shoots like 2 of his fingers off.
Yeah. I guess they're what their Operation Blue Boy or Bluebell, something like that. They're a division, an unofficial. They're basically Men in Black.
Yeah,
they're an unofficial division of the military.
Yeah, and you know, like he's like, oh, Morgan Freeman's like, I'm about to retire, so Owens, you're gonna take my place. He gives him like this special little Glock.
That was handed down to him by John Wayne.
Yeah. And all of us. Oh, sorry. Before that, I forgot to mention, Jonesy does get possessed by Mr. Gray when he poofs into red mist.
Yeah,
but it is like a pretty terrifying, like when Jonesy's like, "What do you want?" But it's like in the most terrifying bone-chilling type of like scare voice.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Henry is trying to make his way over there, and Pete goes back to the truck for the beer. Notices that the chick is not moving anymore, and he was like, "Oh well, you know, I always thought Duddits was an alien because he talks so weird, you know. But he's such a good guy, so." And he's like pissing. He just spells out Duddit's name in the snow.
And as they do like this big sweep around the area, and you notice that the back of her pants are like ripped out, and there's a little bloody trail that goes digging into the snow.
Why does that have to come out the butt? It's like the worst.
So I guess if it popped out your stomach, that would be too much like Alien.
Oh, yeah, too. That's true. But if it popped out of the mouth,
maybe that's the cycle. It goes in your mouth, and then it grows as it goes through your intestines, and then it's full size by the time it gets to your colon.
Oh, that's true. Because then they do say like the lamprey alien thing is like coated in something that could survive the stomach acid.
Yeah.
But yeah, he gets his dick bit, and he fights this thing off. He's able to like sort of singe it off of his face with the campfire that they built.
Right.
Meanwhile, Henry's trying to make it his way out there, and then he's like, "Oh." He picks up something on his mental, and he's like, "Oh, Jonesy's on his way." And he's like, "Wait, that's not Jonesy." And he like hides really quickly.
Yeah.
Jonesy's making his way. It was like vroom vroom. He finds Pete. But like, sorry. Before that, as he's making his way there, we notice that now Jonesy has two identities going on.
Right. So you have like Jonesy, and then he's talking to himself in a British accent, and that is
Hello.
The gray version.
Oh, Jones? Oh, maybe your name is Jonesy.
Yep.
What? There's something. I mean, you know, he's like cursing at him. He's like, "Fuck you, eat shit." And he's like, "Oh, I've already scoured your mind for the filth department, and it is filthy." But there's one part of your brain I can't access. What's in there?
Yep.
But he does make notice. He's like, "Mr. Gray," and he's like, "How do you know that name? Who taught you that name?" But they're able to find Pete. And Pete is kind of like he's pretty beat up. You know, he just singed his face. His piece got bit.
Right.
But he starts choking him out with his mind or something, right?
Yeah.
And then what's it called? Jonesy's like he's in his little warehouse and he's like, "Stop! I can make him help you." And then this is the first time sort of we get a visualization of Pete's powers.
Right.
He like twiddles the air a little bit.
Yeah, because earlier he does that little twiddle thing, and it's like, this just helps me think. But this is the first time like he does it. You can kind of see that it's
like a power.
Yeah.
Right. And then like apparently like I was like
it looks like the old Aquaman talking to a fish.
And I was also like, you know, like watching other people talk about this movie, and they say that like that thing is supposed to just find the thing that you're looking for.
Right.
And so, like, you know, when he tells Pete what he wants, he finds the most optimal way to do what he wants. Right. Even without Pete knowing what he wants. Which is, I thought it was kind of crazy. And so he puts Pete on the back of his thing, and they start going off. Henry goes back to the cabin, and he's like, "Oh, my God. This is the wrong movie. This isn't The Mist." Because, like, you know, there's people dead all over the place.
Right.
And he goes into the room. There's like the lamprey laying some eggs.
Yep. And then now 3/4 of the house is covered in this, like this red fungus stuff.
But he's able to kill the lamprey, but all the little eggs start popping open.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Fuck this." And you know, the best way to do anything is burn it.
Right, right. Yeah, especially like he starts to see those crack open, and then so he's like, "I'm going to burn this." And then he looks over on the other side of the bed. There's a whole bunch that are already all cracked and missing. So he's like, "Yep, just got to burn the house down."
So he's able to burn it all. And this is kind of where I kind of lose track of Henry. But I do know like at some point he does get picked up by the military, right?
Right.
But what's called Jonesy and Pete are on the way, but then we get another flashback of like how they all became closer, you know, like they're like, "Hey, we got to find this little girl."
Right, because there's the
missing poster.
The school for the handicap where they know Duddits from.
Yeah.
And there's a girl who goes missing, and so they find her like trapped in a sewer pipe.
Which who operates there in Derry.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but that's yeah. But yeah, you then they do a little thing on the Dreamcatcher that they all were making Dreamcatchers for like one of their classes, like art project, and they made an extra one for Duddits.
Yeah,
and then they connected them all, and it was like, yeah, he's our Dreamcatcher.
Yeah. But then so when they have the whole thing of like, let's find the girl, Duddits has them all like hold hands.
Yep.
In sort of the shape of the Dreamcatcher that they did, and all of a sudden they, Duddits is able to transfer some of his powers to each of them.
Right.
They all have different powers.
See, similar but different. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I mean, at first they could all communicate with each other telepathically.
Yeah.
Almost. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But, everyone has, like, separate powers. Like, what's it called? Henry can read minds. P can, like, locate things.
Yeah.
What's it called? Jonesy. I forgot what he can do. But, hold on. And possibly his power is probably just his massive mental warehouse, or maybe his body also, because it does regenerate or like heal up pretty fast
after that accident. Yeah,
after the accident. But Jonesy's alien, Mr. Gray, he has let go of Pete's usefulness,
right?
And he turns into like this huge, like Leviathan from Supernatural being, and it chomps on Pete. I was just like, no, he's killing everybody.
All right.
What's it called? Henry, he gets caught by the military. But he runs into Owens and Morgan Freeman, and with his telepathic abilities, he's able to discern what's happening.
Right, and Owens believes that he knows that he's not just like a crazy person.
Yeah.
And Morgan Freeman is now been in the
this task
force and seen enough craziness that he's basically just kind of lost his mind.
Yeah.
And because like Owens is like, hey, when we've been doing the research on this, it seems like most of the people who get infected just, they cure themselves. They're just like, they heal from the infection. It's just a small percentage. And Morgan Freeman's like, yeah, but you want one of those people, you think they're healed, and then they hitchhike out of town and infect like a major city? Nope. Everybody who's ever come in contact with it
is gonna die.
We're gonna kill them all.
Yeah, because like before this whole task mission, before they find Henry, they do bomb the fuck out of the remaining aliens.
Right.
And they're all like, we come in peace. Maybe they do. I don't know, because it says in the book that Mr. Gray is hostile towards humans because humans have killed so much of his people or so much of his species.
Right.
And these other aliens might actually just be like trying to live in coexistence. I don't know. They bomb the fuck out of them, though.
Yeah, it's basically just annihilate.
Yeah, and then I think they're able to go back into their ship, which I was like, how is no one talking about this ship that's crash landed in this place in Maine or something?
Right.
But no, and so Henry's able to sort of get into Owen's head, like, hey, I know you're still a good person. We gotta save Jones. We gotta get to Jonesy because he might infect Boston or something like that.
Right.
Because he's able, like, they've sort of been able to be in communication. But he's like, all right. Owens is like, yeah, you're right. So he escapes the encampment or whatever. He picks up Henry, and Henry's kind of acting kind of crazy. He's like, oh, this is a dope gun, and he uses it as a phone, as a cell phone, to call Jonesy in his mental warehouse.
Yep.
And he's like, hey, we're going to go to Boston. You got to get Duddits and stop us because he's planning to put this lamprey into the water source, and everything's gonna be fucked.
Right. Yep.
They go to Duddit's house. Duddit's mother's like, "Hey, we've been expecting you." Duddit's has been like waiting for you, and you know he has cancer.
Yeah, he's got cancer now, so here's his medicine, and you know he shouldn't be like technically leaving the house, but you know. At least we know if he's with you guys on an adventure, he's gonna die happy.
And you know, and Duddit's is like, you know, it only takes one.
Yeah.
It only takes one worm to infect the world.
Right.
And so they get to the, you know, they're able to sort of get there at the same time that Jonesy gets there, who has now infected a dog to carry or host this lamprey.
Right. Yep.
But, you know, Morgan Freeman's like, fuck that. He gets in a plane and he's like gonna attack him because there's a tracker in the gun that he gave Owens. And so
he's like, hey, Owens ran off, so now Owens is the enemy.
AWOL. Yeah.
He's AWOL. So he's come in contact with aliens, so we gotta kill him too.
Yeah. And so Owens is able to shoot down Morgan Freeman in this thing. Morgan Freeman dies, but then Owen succumbs to his injuries.
Yes.
And so now it's up to Henry. Henry's the only person that can stop Jonesy.
Yep.
And Duddit's, well, he's pretty weak, so he stays in the car for a little bit. And so Henry goes in there, he shoots the first lamprey, but then a little egg rolls out of it. Yeah. And now him and Jonesy are kind of fighting.
Right.
And so Jonesy's trying to fight back in his mind.
It's kind of one of those things where it's like Jonesy's like, oh, yeah, you killed the lamprey. I'm free. But that's Mr. Gray talking, and he's like, I don't know if you are. Tell me something that only Jonesy would know, because I'm the one with the gun. And he's like, what about SSDD? And he's like, I'm not sure if that's good enough. I may have to just shoot you just to be safe.
But all of a sudden, here comes Duddit's rolling in, and he's like, you know, this is after the thing has crawled out of Jonesy, and
it
crawls out of him.
Duddit's forces it out.
Does he?
Yeah.
All right.
Because it doesn't come out till Duddit's walks in the room.
Oh, okay. I thought crawl. All right. Well, yeah. So
because it doesn't come out of his butthole.
Yeah. But it's out, right? And it's a huge alien form, and then it stabs Duddit's in the chest.
Right, and you're like, oh, well, that was super anticlimactic. Duddit's was supposed to be like the
hero.
The hero, and now 3 seconds later, he gets impaled.
And that is until Duddit starts to also transform.
Yep.
And we find out that he is, in fact, an alien as well.
Yep.
Or a semi-parasitic alien that has now just formed into Duddit's.
Right.
And, you know, he's able to encase him into this cocoon, and meanwhile, a little, like, the egg slug thing is, like, starting to crawl out. And so the two of them look at each other, and we're all like, oh my God, is it going to get into the water supply?
Right, because that's all. It's only got to go like a few feet and fall into the manhole, and that goes into the water supply for Boston.
For Boston, you know, and that's, you just need one major city.
Yep.
Right, but no, Jonesy steps on it, and then the two of them look at each other lovingly, and then they make out. Just kidding.
But that's when you know that Jonesy is
Jonesy.
Is Jonesy again.
Yeah. Whew. What a great you know, some people, before I get into like reading high star, low star, some people said like, oh, this started out so great, but then it just became like a little creature feature. But I thought it was good, you know?
Yeah. No, yeah. I very much enjoyed it.
Yeah. Oh, this is all right, let's go into our other section for you guys, though. We got the high star, low star.
Boom! So we got an 8 out of 10. Misunderstood and underrated. This Stephen King adaptation is underrated. Sure, it has its flaws. It's a mashup of many things in some sense. In some sense, it fails to find its bearings. But that's only in the surface. In all its weirdness, these is a sense.
That's a weird. Yeah, that's a weird.
Hard to grasp and see at first. I revisited this movie almost a decade later. I didn't recall this movie to be anything impressive or mind-blowing, yet upon recent viewing, I find myself pleasantly surprised by this flick. Dreamcatcher isn't Stephen King's best book by a long shot. The four main actors gave stellar performances. John Seale's cinematography is simply perfect for this. Damian Lewis is simply genius in his role. Do yourself a favor, watch this movie, and ignore their low ratings.
And then we have a 1 out of 10, phoning it in. We've known that Stephen King has just been in it for the money for some time. He just writes crap for the masses. But this time I saw the stellar cast and thought, there might be something here. I'm usually more tolerant of scary movies than dramas anyway. But this was junk. Not even good enough for TV. Even Morgan Freeman was phoning it in. I feel like this is Morgan Freeman's like most Nicolas Cage role ever.
With the giant eyebrows.
Giant eyebrows, like the crazy,
right?
You know, what was the deal on the Santa eyebrows in Paris? Also, was a shining example of how gross scenes are only just gross, not scary. Who thought that bowel movements in the bathroom were scary? Give me a break. Stephen King will have to do a lot more marketing to get me to watch another one of his movies. It's body horror. That's what that is.
Right.
You know, it's gross, but it's gross because it's so horrific.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you right now, if you've ever had one of those very constipated couple days, that poop is like ripping through your butthole. You gotta check the bowl on that one. No, but I feel like the four main characters that we do have mostly on screen for most part of the movie, I thought they were great. They had a great dynamic with each other. They really felt like friends.
Right. Yeah, no, I thought all the actors, especially the five, the four main, and then Duddits, who's a smaller role, but yeah, I thought they were all fantastic in this.
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny because, like, you know, someone had said like, oh, it started off as a great little piece about, like, you know, the psychic powers, and then it just became this creature feature. But it's like, it's the beginning where they're trying to explain the powers and the psychic powers and everything. It's set up to show how, like, Duddits had kind of predicted this because, again, he's an alien. Right. He's like, well, they're gonna either come or they're gonna finally be able to put their plans in motion. And I at least need some backup.
I mean, like, I understand how people are saying, like, it's the beginning and the end are so different, because the beginning is four kids who are now four adults who have just a little bit of the shine.
Yeah.
And that is what the story feels like it's doing.
Yeah.
And then it's all of a sudden, you know, they find this person who's infected in the woods, and then it becomes this mystery disease that turns into aliens. Yeah. And so I'm like, it does change theme as it's going through. So, like,
I get the criticism, but I also felt like the progression was gradual. Like, it kind of, like, it didn't shift the tones too fast.
Right.
You know? And that's just where I was at. Like, I understand, like, yeah, like, you know, it is very sudden, but also not, just because of how intentional it seems to build up.
Right.
Into this, like, full large-scale invasion. I mean, like, this probably could have been, like, a really great, like, series. You know, it's very... You know,
yeah,
the four guys are all 11.
If you think things are a little rushed, it's because you're taking a
book,
a novel, and making it into a movie.
And this is like 2 hours long. You know, it's not like short by any means. I think that's a pretty. So that I think even though it's condensed, I feel like they got enough time to let it build up gradually.
Right. Yeah.
You know, because these four guys, when you first meet them, they're. Besides Jonesy, I feel like everyone else was kind of depressed. I get Henry wanting to, like, kind of, like, he's constantly hearing people's minds. Maybe he probably was able to sort of focus it more when he was older. But like, man, that guy, he was about to blow his brains out.
Yeah.
Pete, obviously, you know, fastest legs in Indiana. I'm pretty sure he didn't see himself as a used car salesman.
Right. So it's not a glorious job.
Like Jonesy's the only one that kind of made it out, or at least made into a. Well, no, that's not true because Henry has a respectable profession.
So it's one of those things where, like, you're a psychiatrist and you're already listening to people's problems. But then if you have that little bit of psychic ability, you're also hearing the problems that they're too embarrassed to tell you about. Oh. So it's just like bonus sadness pushed into your brain.
Yeah, which I mean, like, you know, probably what his thoughts were like, I can make a lot of money because I'll be like the best therapist.
Right,
ever.
or I can really help people.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you know, you start answering people off of what they're thinking instead of what they're saying. And
how do you know that?
Yeah, everybody's like, oh, this guy's creepy. I'm not going back.
My uncle didn't touch me.
Right. Yeah.
Like it's stuff like that kind of like, you know, maybe 6 months into the sessions that finally comes out, not the first time.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, they're all relatively kind of sad people. Like, you know, maybe they're just unfulfilled. Well, Pete and Beaver are probably unfulfilled by their professions and, you know, where they're at in life. You know, Henry is pretty understandable. Seeing everyone else's trauma is kind of like, oh man, I need a break.
Right.
Jonesy's kind of the only one that's, I would say, balanced. You know? And but I think it was also like a sort of like a great sort of depiction of, you know, how some people kind of just try to maintain their friendships. You know, they make sure like, hey, you know, every time this year we go here, we catch up. You know, back in 2003, social media wasn't that big, if at all.
Yeah.
You know, like you're mostly doing chat rooms and AOL instant messaging.
Right. Yep.
Maybe they got like a blog, like a Zanga, if you guys remember that. But other than that, you know, you're like...
But yeah, no Facebook, no Instagram at that point.
Yeah. You know,
like your emails, maybe.
Yeah. So, like, you know, this movie kind of has like a lot of themes in it. You have like themes of friendship. You know, you have like this whole military situation, growing up, depression, anxiety, acceptance.
Right.
There's a lot of things going on, showing how like human nature is of just like, well, like, you know, yeah, you guys might be coming here in peace, but
I guess I could see somebody's thinking, because usually you have a movie and it's got one distinct theme and you're following that theme through the movie. Like, you know, friendship, and it's friendship through, you know, I lost it and then I got it back or whatever. But here it's like you're saying, like you're pointing out all the different themes that this touches on. And I guess if you want a movie to be very straightforward, then those other things are pulling you out of.
Yeah. I mean, you guys can just go watch a Seth Rogen movie. If straightforward is all you want, you know. But I feel like nothing ever, like, it does pull you away from it a little bit, but it never completely pulls you out of it. Or it never, like, generally leaves a theme once it picks up a new one.
Right.
You know, because, like, these, like, come on, how many people are going to be like, oh, I have to find my friend Jonesy. No, I'm getting far away from that guy because he's possessed.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, a lot of like I was watching a lot of other things too. It's talking about how like the alien body that they showed up first, like the Mr. Gray. Mm-hmm. Originally, that is not their original bodies. The original bodies is just like the huge lamprey or whatever, and that's just the depiction that humans have always kept calling them,
right,
or something like that.
Yeah, and so I
you got some strange tidbits.
Well, like I didn't think about it till like way later, kind of watching and then talking about that stuff. Where it's like the Greys are always what they call the aliens.
Yeah,
and then this was called Mr. Gray.
Yeah,
and it was like it didn't initially like connect that that's why he was called Mr. Gray, because he was a gray.
Yeah. I thought you were going to be like, because I thought he was Papa Gray.
And then I guess in the book, Jonesy doesn't turn, or Duddits doesn't turn into an alien.
Oh.
So you don't ever really know if he was an alien, if he had come in contact with an alien, and that's how he got his psychic abilities.
Yeah.
But then also in the book, they said that everybody who was covered in the fungus had some kind of psychic connection to each other.
Oh, yeah, like it all became like a hive mind.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, there's a lot of things, obviously, that a lot of people are always going to be like, well, the book was way better.
But some of that stuff is just so much more difficult to get across in a movie. Mm-hmm. And like if you extended this to like a season-long show, then you could have, explored some of those things a little bit more. But
most definitely, because say right now, I try to condense the Stranger Things into a 2.5 hour movie.
Right.
Like there's a lot of like character building that you don't get. Like there's a lot of things that are going to be missing out. So that's just kind of like the nature of things when you're trying to take, especially one medium into another, or trying to condense, something that was a season into a movie. There's a lot of things that when you watch these movies, you're going to be like, well, you watch a series, so you should already know this, that we don't have to depict it into into this movie. So, and that's just unfortunate. That's just the unfortunate things. Small details kind of fall through the cracks.
And this was interesting, just in general, this whole month, because all these were all the movies were off of books or off of short stories.
Yeah,
and it was real interesting that to try to compare the two, even though I haven't read any of the stories, but to hear people's comparisons of those, and generally like almost all the movie reviews we've done over the years haven't been like that. You're just like, this is the movie, let's let you know.
You could watch it.
It stands on its own kind of thing. It's good or it's bad all on itself. And here it's like, well, the movie was good, but it's different from the book. So does that make the movie, bad? And I've gotten good at separating those two because comic shops and there's so many comic movies, and I've read all the comics, and you're like, if you allow that comparison to be there, then it's never the same, and it's always going to be an issue.
Like it'll never be good enough. It'll be the kid that you didn't want.
Right. Yep.
It's like, why don't you like basketball? Yeah, if you just accept things for like what they are and like, what these people try to do, then like you'll enjoy movies so much more.
Right. Exactly.
All right, guys. But we're coming up to our hour. Make sure to check out our other months. We have Nicolas Cage month. We have demonic toys. We have ninja months. We have video games into movies months.
Yep. Musicals. Of course, for the holidays.
Can't forget about those.
Christmas and Halloween.
Yeah, because Hallmark won't let you forget about it. But this is the first time you guys are joining us. We have our reviews in 4 different sections. We got the Stream It, DVD it, Blu-ray it, and the Ultimate Box Collection. Colby, where are you at?
I heard a fun little fact, kind of doing reviews and stuff. 61 Stephen King stories have been made into movies or TV shows.
Oh, wow.
I want that box set.
It's a $500 box set right there.
Right.
I mean, some you could probably combine into like one Blu-ray.
I think this would probably be Blu-ray.
Yeah.
I'm sure that there's some deleted scenes, some low extended scenes.
Yeah, like a director's cut.
Some commentary. Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah, same for me. I think this is an easy Blu-ray. I mean, it's a pretty long movie, but it's held up since 2003. I think the acting is pretty great all around. I don't think anyone is quote unquote phoning it in.
Oh yeah, not at all. I didn't.
Like, what's it called when Jonesy, like I said, when he's like, "What do you want?" It's probably the most terrifying "What do you want?" I've ever heard.
Right.
Because it absolutely sounds like it's rattled in fear when he says it. And I'm like, wow, that's pretty good. Yeah, you know, and it's a fun movie. You know, it starts off pretty lighthearted for a friend. Well, not the whole gun to the head, but like, but you know, these four friends sort of just trying to keep some semblance of their childhood still alive with, like, you know, being friends and going to the hole in the wall cabin that they go to every year. You know, again, it's super hard to maintain friendships as an adult.
It is.
Yeah, there's a
and it's weird
effort.
because they almost Duddits is still that glue, even though they don't see him very often and he's sick, he's still that like glue that kind of holds the four of them together as friends.
You know, because like, you know, that guy's about to blow his brains out. I was like, come on, we haven't seen Duddits in so long. We should go visit him after the trip, you know, on the way back home or something. And he's like, yeah, you're right.
Yep.
Puts the gun away, accidentally shoots his diploma. Yeah, man, this movie is good. I think it has like a little bit of everything for everybody in there. Little body horror, little sci-fi, alien invasions, military.
Right. And it's really it's not over gory. It's really just that the one scene. Toilet scene. Ugh. Just kind of cover one eye for 30 seconds and you're through it.
Like, you don't even see it coming out of his butt.
Right.
You just hear it drop.
Right.
But you do see his bloody poop shoot.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you guys for joining us. Make sure to check out down below. We have our Amazon affiliate links. Me and Colby are just trying to get 2 steaks at Texas Roadhouse in our Canadian tuxes.
And of course, we've got our socials down below. Not our social security numbers, but not like you'd be able to steal our credit. You know, what have we got? $17
bucks. Pay my debt.
Yeah. You steal our credit and then make it better. But yeah, no, we got our Facebook, our Instagram, Twitter down below, and we would love for you to befriend us.
Talk to us.
Share some love.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thank you guys for joining us. Tune in next month where we have a new theme for you guys ready. My name is Barry.
This is Colby.
And this is Who Watches This. If you guys want to check out the theme music, it is Lee Rosevere. It's called Arcade Montage. It's on our album Music for Podcast 3, and our Bandcamp is down below.
Thank you.